Hello friends, just wanted to let you know that the audio on this one is a little funky, so I apologize for that in advance. I hope it doesn't detract from the video in any major way. It's a good video though. Okay, bye!
This video isn't typically the kind of thing I do on my channel. This video is meant to be a recount and reflection of my experiences with Dr. Apis, the Love Letter management team, and or their fanbase, as well as some of the collective experiences of ex-volunteers, ex-friends, and ex-fans of Dr. Apis and the Love Letter management team. I'll do my best not to get too emotional about any of this because, quite frankly, I am really upset about the way this all has panned out, and I am still really hurt by the events that have happened. Regardless, I don't condone any harassment or hate sent to the Love Letter team, fans, or Dev in any way. I just wanted to make this video to bring some clarity to the situation and how I personally feel about everything. Let's get started. My involvement with the Love Letter drama began after I made my Yandere Dev is a Mess video, which performed relatively well on my channel immediately after its release. In the video, I talked about why Yandere Dev is currently experiencing a ton of backlash for his game, Yandere Simulator, just as hundreds of other commentary channels have done before me. I mentioned how Dr. Apis, a developer that seemingly popped out of nowhere, was making a Yandere-style game similar to Yandere Simulator titled Love Letter, which, as Apis themselves claim, was coded and made in the span of 2 weeks. I was impressed, as were many other people covering the issue, and I praised Apis for their work on their game, even going so far as to calling them a godsend.
This Dr. Apis person is a godsend.
Shortly after that video went up, one of my subscribers, Shortcake, reached out to me on Twitter to discuss their involvement with the Love Letter team and how they were the ex-admin of the Love Letter server as well as the creator of the ex-main character of the game, Bochan, who I also so happen to love and am actually drawing fan art for in the background. They talked about their experience and problems they had with the team. I asked them some questions, we discussed for a little bit, and I decided that they had a valuable perspective that I didn't see represented widely enough, which is kind of what I like to do on this channel. I like to talk to people most affected by a problem on the internet at the hands of a game dev in this case, or an abusive artist in other cases, and I like to gain their perspective. Oftentimes, the people who I reach out to, or the people who reach out to me, have things to say, but they don't have a platform to say it on. I try to be that platform for people like that. I speak on behalf of people and try to represent their perspectives as accurately as possible. One really good example of this was my Dollygut series, which ultimately put my channel in the spotlight. I talked about 2 people heavily involved with that situation, and I gained a lot of insight into the problems that lie with this particular artist. It provided a narrative that didn't exist before because no one cared enough to reach out to these people. I like doing that. That's something I enjoy doing and researching on my channel. And while this situation isn't comparable, I felt similarly with this narrative. I wanted to cover it because I felt that it wasn't talked about widely enough. So Shortcake and I agreed to an interview where they talked about their feelings towards the Love Letter team, dev, and fanbase as a whole. They relayed their thoughts, I inserted it into one of my videos titled Dr. Apis is a Mess, and I moved right along with my life. That was a mere 2 weeks ago. What brings me back to this topic, you might ask? Well, you see, this video was different from the rest of the videos on my channel because I quickly began to notice how badly received it was becoming. Now, I would like to say that my videos don't tend to be that badly received simply due to the nature of my content. I tend to be the type of commentary channel that's generally calm when delivering criticism. I also try my best to keep the criticism as constructive as possible. I rarely, if ever, insult people or attack people for any reason. My commentary and criticism often come from a place of wanting to see the other party grow, develop, and improve, not to damage, destruct, or harass. And we can pretty much just chalk that up to that being my style of commentary. My first Dr. Apis video was no exception. I made sure not to misgender Apis, I applauded them for owning up to lying about being narwhals are falling, and I listed some of the limitations I saw with their management style. No attacks, no harassment, no ill will. However, within the span of 2 weeks, as I'm scripting this video, my Dr. Apis video has a total of 1,650 dislikes and a 78% like to dislike ratio. Additionally, I think it's important to note that when I first released the video, it was eligible for full monetization and it was, in fact, fully monetized for about a week or so. However, as the dislikes and hate comments really started to get intense, I noticed my monetization switched from on to decreased ad suitability. Let me tell you something. Speaking from my own experience on my own channel, I have never had a video begin fully monetized and then switch to decreased monetization. I can only think of 2 reasons why this might have happened. 1, monetization was affected as a result of the influx of dislikes, which led YouTube to deem it unsuitable for ads, or 2, assuming fans of the Love Letter team were mass disliking my video, they may have also began to mass report the video, leading YouTube to deem it unsuitable for ads. Regardless, I think it's safe to conclude that YouTube changed the monetization status after the video began to receive receive a lot of hate. Honestly, watching the video back, I don't see anything in it that deviates too much from my other commentary videos, which are also fully monetized. This is when I began to speculate that I had just been raided. For context, not a single one of my 17 other videos has dipped below a 92% like to dislike ratio. On my most popular upload, I, at the time of scripting, have 376,000 views and 817 dislikes. If we put that side by side to my Apis video, something doesn't add up, don't you think? Proportionally, it's very off. But, numbers and statistics aside, I wouldn't accuse anyone of raiding if I wasn't dealing with someone who has previously been known to raid YouTube videos. But I was. Raiding is, unfortunately, not an uncommon occurrence for Dr. Apis, the Love Letter management team, and the fanbase. As a matter of fact, Apis has been known to raid creators who criticize them in the past. I touched on this in my first video, but there is credible documentation of raids occurring to other creators' videos, the most well-known example being Cameron F305. Cameron F305 is a minor who also so happens to be a Yandere Simulator volunteer, but that's not really relevant to the story. What's relevant is that Cameron is an ex-friend of Apis. After their falling out, he made a video on Apis titled The Truth About Dr. Apis, The Truth Behind Love Letter, talking about his experiences with them and the Love Letter team as a whole. While the like to dislike ratio is currently hidden on his video, I reached out to Cameron over Twitter DMs to ask him what exactly happened. He said this: "First things first, my video wasn't just rated by Dr. Apis. They sent their volunteers, friends, and their friends/fans to raid my video, getting the video to over 1.3 thousand dislikes and a ton of throwaway accounts commenting on my video. Sounds pretty similar to my situation and what had happened to my video. Maybe it's just a coincidence, I thought. I decided that the best way to figure this out would be to reach out to Apis personally because I didn't want it to be an overtly public thing. Unfortunately, I soon found out that Apis had their Twitter DMs closed. I tried the next best thing. I commented on their most recent tweet at the time, asking, 'Why did you raid my video though?' To which they promptly responded with, 'Huh? I didn't.' Now, for someone we all love to compare to Yondev and claim is the quote-unquote better version of Yondev, that sounds awfully similar to something Alex would say. But I digress. Apparently, this was all Apis had to say in their defense, which, to be honest, did very little to change my mind. I honestly just assumed they were lying, as they did when they rated Cameron's video. Let's look into these screenshots, shall we? This first screenshot is super crusty and pixelated, so I apologize for that, but it's a screenshot of the Love Letter volunteer server. Apis sends Cameron's video link in the chat and clearly says, "You can tell he's 16, indicating that Apis, an 18-year-old and thus a legal adult under United States law, is aware of Cameron being a minor. Then, people in the server begin to slander Cameron, calling him disparaging names, saying ew, all kinds of nasty stuff. This second screenshot is also super crusty, once again apologies, but it's a continuation from the first in which Dr. Apis states dislike the video, and his volunteers comply, saying things like ratio his ass, ratio time, and informing Apis that they did what they asked them to do. Not sure if you can tell what I'm thinking yet, but just a by the way, I think this is disgusting. The third and final screenshot is less crusty, thankfully, but shows conversations between some of the volunteers on the Love Letter team where they applauded each other for sending their server friends and boyfriends to dislike Cameron's video. Really nice job, guys. We really stand this energy. Sending calculated, purposeful, and targeted harassment to a minor for making a rather mellow video recounting his experiences with your perfect, do no wrong developer. Icons. Legends. This is exactly how we like to spend our Tuesday afternoons. Sending people to hate on a video just because it criticizes you is one thing, but sending people to hate on a video made by a minor just because it criticizes you is another thing. And if someone is going to comment, Apis is just 18, they still have time to grow and improve, you're being too hard on them. I just want to let you know that 18 in the United States means legal adult. If you do something illegal as an 18-year-old, you will be tried as an adult. I'm not saying that what they've been doing is arrest worthy, but I don't think babying a full-grown adult is going to help the situation at all. Quite the opposite, actually. Babying them enables them to continue their shitty behavior, and I don't condone that at all. Besides, it seems to me that you're forgetting I'm 19. I'm practically the same age as Apis. I'm not holding them to unreasonable standards. I'm just holding them to standards just as I hold everyone to standards. Regardless, in this particular situation, an adult sent targeted harassment to a minor's videos simply because they didn't like Cameron or his content. That is wrong. I don't care how old they are. End of discussion. But if you thought sending targeted hate towards a minor video was bad enough, there's more. For one, the person who moderates the official Love Letter Twitter account, you know, the one that has over 40,000 followers, lied about rating rating Cameron's video. Here's the story. After I commented under Apis' Twitter post, the moderator of the official Love Letter Twitter account reached out to me. Their name is Outset, and they said this. Quote, I was trying to figure out where I saw your name before, Omnia, and I personally realized I actually watch your videos, like the one on Dolly Guts and such. Sorry if this is out of nowhere. I am a member of the Love Letter team. Hello. I was really curious about what you said about Dr. Apis sending people to raid your video. As far as I know, that claim is untrue though. I am in our little volunteer server. I remember the video in question being shown to me before, but never anything about going to raid it. I personally don't condone raids, and neither does our development team. The only thing I can think of that may have happened is someone showed the video in question around, and well, you know how some people can be. Pack mentality is a thing that happens, and I want to apologize if that is what happened. We had no part in it, and do not go tell fans to go hate on someone else's content. It's wrong. While we as a team have our own individual thought processes about videos involving Dr. Apis or our team, we keep that sort of thing to ourselves. For example, I actually like your videos, LOL. When I first received this message, I was willing to hear her out, so I accepted her request. But looking back on all the things that have happened since this message was sent, all I have to say is pure and utter bullshit. Here's what happened that led me to believe that this message was all lies. Outset and I conversed for a little bit about why I thought Apis, the Love Letter team, and fanbase as a whole rated my video. I presented the same reasons I indicated earlier in the video, as well as, keep this in mind, mentioning Cameron F305's past raid. This is going to be relevant later, but just for the sake of runtime, I'll cut to the chase. After some back and forth, Outset agreed that it would be a good idea to make a post on the official Love Letter Twitter account to condone raids. Here's what Outset said. So currently there has been a lot of drama around us. We were, / maybe still are, a hot topic for discussion. For you and for others, I will make a Twitter announcement about us being anti-raid. Because the people on our team are really good people and we have been trying to avoid drama, I don't want any more of our volunteers coming under fire. People like you making videos should not be coming under fire via our community either. Stuff like that makes me not want to be a part of our project. And that same day, she proceeds to make this post. Quick message as a whole from the Love Letter team, we do not condone raiding of any kind, whether it be in a Discord server or someone's uploaded YouTube video. People are entitled to their opinions of us, good or bad. Which is so great and nice, right? So sweet and wholesome, right? Is that a no I hear? Oh. Someone under the Love Letter tweet commented, Dr. Apis and their team low-key dislike rated Cameron's video on Dr. Apis, but okay, which is a valid criticism, valid concern that I brought up to Outset myself. Do you know how Outset addressed that valid criticism? Here's what she said, with her full chest. We have never devised planning of any kind to raid a video. Last I did check though is that Cameron tried to raid the old official Discord server, which we have proof of, but we are not in the business of DM leaking. Take that drama elsewhere, heart. Wow, nice. So not only is she going to lie about never rating Cameron's video, but they're also going to lie about not being in the business of DM leaking when this screenshot wouldn't exist if Dr. Apis' mod team wasn't in the business of DM leaking. Don't you remember? The DM that started this entire situation in the first place? Yeah, that one. But we should just take her word for it, right? Oh, and completely lying about rating a minor's video isn't enough. For good measure, she also had to block the original commenter, cause that looks really good on them. Outset's response was up for a good 3 hours before another person decided to take it upon themselves to call Outset out by showing the actual screenshots of Apis blatantly instructing their volunteer server to dislike Cameron's video. Outset's lies were up for a solid 7 hours, at least, before she finally decided to delete it. When I found out about this situation, I was really upset. Rightfully so, I think. She told me she was sorry if I was a victim of pack mentality and that it's wrong to hate on other people's content if you disagree with it, but then, in the same breath, on the same exact day, turns around and invalidates ever having taken part in rating anyone's video ever. Like, of course I have the right to be angry. That's so performative and so shitty. When I asked her what all that was about, she said this. Omnia, I deleted that message because I did not want to cause fights and I had also been misinformed. The Cameron's video raid thing, I was misinformed about it in all honesty. It's sort of also why I removed the post because after I posted it, I was told the full info and went, huh? And then removed it. I personally personally did not lie to you, Omnia, and I'm so sorry if you feel that way. I will be 100% transparent and honest with you. Things to that effect, right? But because I've been skeptical for some time, I decided it wouldn't hurt to fact check her. I reached out to two people in particular, Kokoro, the person who sent this tweet, and Shortcake, the person I interviewed in my first Apis video. I asked Shortcake if Outset was a part of the Love Letter staff when Cameron's video was rated. Shortcake confirmed that she indeed was. Kokoro echoed Shortcake's response, and I asked if they knew when Outset deleted her reply tweet. They said she only deleted it after they replied with the screenshots of Apis telling their Discord server to dislike Cameron's video. So, I was just misinformed, I didn't lie to you, I didn't know anything about the raid, Zulu. I swear I'm being transparent and honest with you, can pretty much be fully disregarded because at this point, I just debunked her lies by asking people directly involved. After finding this out, I was, once again, upset, just as I am with this situation as a whole, so what's really new? I'll throw screenshots up of my response to Outset's lies up on the screen right now. Feel free to pause and read through them if you feel so inclined. After presenting my evidence and asking her to explain herself once again, I guess Outset realized I had cornered her and simply responded with I am sorry for what I did and my actions. I know it looks bad, and if I were you, I wouldn't trust me either. I am sorry, and I will leave you be. Goodbye, Omnia. Huh. Yeah, it does look kinda bad. I really wish she could just admit she lied and come clean about everything. But I guess that's too much to ask for, huh? In conclusion, I have reason to believe that both Dr. Apis and the Love Letter management team, specifically Outset, had lied about rating my video. The statistics don't add up, there's proof of them doing it in the past, there's proof of them lying about doing it in the past. I didn't see any reason why they wouldn't rate my video. In fact, it would be odd to me, given their pattern of behavior, if they actually didn't raid my video, and I would be lying if I said I didn't see this coming. I quite literally dared them to do it when I first released the video. In a joking manner, obviously. I just didn't expect them to take the bait. It's honestly hilarious, but that's enough about me. Let's talk about Maggie Moon and her experience with Apis. Maggie Moon is a fellow YouTuber who has recently been exploding. I'm sure you've seen a video or two from her if you're even slightly in the Yandere Simulator periphery. She does great spoiler videos, they're literally crazy. Her content aside, she was Apis's ex-friend in 2017, back when she was 10 years old and Apis was 15. Yes. You heard that correctly. She was still in elementary school while they were starting high school. A 5-year age gap. Not weird at all. And yes, that makes her 13 now and Apis 18. What could possibly be the problem, you might be wondering to yourself? If you're hoping it's anything but weird sexual conversations or grooming behaviors, you're wrong, unfortunately. Maggie really likes Yandere-esque type games, if you couldn't already tell by her content, and she really started to get involved in the community by reaching out to Yandere Simulator type YouTubers. Dr. Apis was one of those types of YouTubers, going under the name Dr. Lamcar or Dr. Gaming at the time. Yeah, seems to me like Dr. Apis really loves changing up their online personas, huh? Maggie reached out to them on Discord, where the two of them instantly connected. She was very clearly a fan of them and was really excited that one of the YouTubers she looked up to had given her the time of day to talk. She even worried that she came off as too cringe, which is a worry a lot of fans have when interacting with someone they look up to. This right here is important to keep in mind. We already have a power dynamic in play here, the position of the fan and the position of the creator. Sometime throughout their conversation, Apis finds out that Maggie is 10. In response to finding that out, he simply says, "Cool," and "I don't mind that you're 10, I'm just a chill dude," which is like, whatever, alright, nothing quite alarming yet. Shortly after finding out that Maggie is 10, however, and note, this is the same exact day they met. The same day. The same day. This all happened immediately after meeting each other. Apis tells Maggie a story about how they went looking through a person's laptop and found their nudes on it, which is creepy and weird in its own right. But Apis had to make it worse, as they do, and decided to just casually plug their flash drive in and save it for future reference, I guess. Because that's what people do when they accidentally discover things on other people's laptops that they shouldn't have seen in the first place, right? Apis also kept mentioning how many, quote, sexual jokes they wanted to make and how many sexual jokes they could think up of on the spot. And casually saying how, quote, sexually perverted in the mind they were. Keep in mind, this was all the same day they met. Like, I don't think you understand. No average person would say that to anyone who is 10 years old, let alone anyone they met the same day. But okay then. Over the course of their friendship, or whatever you would call this, Apis sent Maggie unsolicited, constantly made weird sexual jokes, almost obsessively encouraged her to do unholy things, and just generally was a major creep. And if you are still unconvinced and are one of those people who need me to spell out why this is relevant to Dr. Apis today, I will kindly do so. Although the whole situation with Maggie happened 3 years ago, this must be brought back up to the surface for a number of different reasons. Firstly, it's important to be aware of the past actions of people we currently look up to and support. This allows us to recognize patterns of behavior in case it ever were to happen again, and it puts the ball in our court in terms of being able to hold these people accountable. Secondly, Maggie never once received an apology until she rediscovered Apis after Love Letter began gaining traction, which she ultimately got, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Thirdly, I think it's important to recognize that the dev you all so blindly idolize isn't as perfect and wonderful as you think he is. He was 15, who cares? I hear you yelling at your computer. I don't know a single 15-year-old who thinks it's appropriate to groom a 10-year-old child, send her porn, and constantly encourage her to touch her lady bits. Like, I don't really think anyone could possibly justify this in their brain. 15 is an old enough age to know what's blatantly right and blatantly wrong. This is clearly a wrong, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that. It's disgusting, and their age isn't a valid excuse. I'm not sorry. But they were both minors. Technically, nothing illegal happened. I hear you typing away. Okay, let's shift the ages a little. A 17-year-old sending this to a 12-year-old. Does it sound somehow worse to you? Yes? Hate to break it to you, but it's the same exact age gap. Sure, slightly older, but still a 5-year age gap. Nothing illegal happened. You're right. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't hold Apis accountable to the deplorable things he said to an elementary schooler who wasn't even aware of what sex was. Again, I'm not sorry. I think what's worse is the response from the Love Letter team and fanbase after Maggie released her official statement. I'm not going to go into the specifics of Dr. Apis and Maggie's conversation, his apology, her official statement, his apology document, or any of that jazz because I already can tell that this video is long enough, but just know that Apis and Maggie recently talked over Twitter DMs. They sorted things out kinda sorta not really. They wrote an apology document and shared it online immediately afterward. Maggie wrote her statement up and shared it online a couple days later. I was involved with all of it, but most of the details of that don't really matter. What matters is that all of this stuff is going to be linked in the description, so if you really want to read the specifics, it's all down there for your convenience. After Maggie posted her official statement, the response from the Love Letter community has honestly just been extremely disappointing. Like, I already didn't have much hope for the Love Letter community as a whole, fan base included, after my Dr. Apis is a Mess video got rated and I had hate comments overwhelming my comment section, but the response to Maggie coming out about her experience was completely unwarranted. The amount of victim blaming, shaming, and invalidating that has been thrown Maggie's way has been insane, and my own experiences with the video raid and being lied to aside, I feel most upset for Maggie and the things she's had to go through. So many fans have just excused Apis's behavior as just being another horny 15-year-old and, oh, what a widow baby, everyone's out to get you. Oh, like, this isn't a serious issue. They were 15, not 6. It's stupid, and the fans aren't the only problem. Apis's staff is clearly in the wrong too. For one, Outset, the mod who runs the Love Letter Twitter, the same one who lied about just about everything they told me about the raids. Yeah. Remember her? She invalidated Maggie's experience by saying she just simply did not believe Maggie's claims of being the age that she is, with no further proof besides the way she types sounds like a quote-unquote 18-year-old. I'm not really sure how you can infer how old someone is by their texting style, but alright, Outset. And this other girl, I don't even know how to say her name, but she's the current voice actor for Setsuna, the main character of Love Letter who has replaced Bochan since Shortcake took Bochan with her. Yeah. She also completely invalidated Maggie's experience and even made completely inappropriate jokes at her expense. Like, I don't even have words. Let's just run the clip.
Do you know that your father's a pedo? I was like, what father?
Oh, yes, Dr.
It was
Apis, the
kinda
father.
weird. Apparently he's my father now.
Oh my god, I can't believe this. Your father was an ape the whole time. I can't believe this.
Wait, does that mean my mother's the
Wow, nice one. The joke was so insanely funny, I just forgot to laugh. The way the love letter moderators can say in full confidence that, quote, the people in our team are really good people and we just have been trying to avoid drama is so funny to me. You're really telling me that repeatedly invalidating and clowning a 13-year-old for coming out about their experience with your Lord and Savior Apis, grooming her when she was 10 years old, makes you a good person? You don't want any more of your volunteers to come under fire? Maybe stop doing things that cause people to get riled up. Maybe let's not victim shame an elementary schooler after having been sent unsolicited porn by a teenager. I honestly feel sick. No, I'm not asking you to hold a 15-year-old to the standards of a full-grown adult. I'm not telling you to rush to Twitter and get the hashtag Dr. Apis is over party trending. But this is a theme I'm noticing a lot in Apis's diehard fans, and this is what ultimately leads me to my last couple points of this video. The two main issues that Dr. Apis, the Love Letter team, and the Love Letter fans have is a culture of lies and a culture of excuses. Those two things make the whole project so incredibly sour, and here's why. Firstly, let's unpack the lying aspect. It's all they do. Dr. Apis lied about many things over the course of their rise to fame, from super petty things like being narwhals are falling to more intense and important things like firing Zaid, the sexual harasser. The Love Letter managers also do it, like Outset, who lied about ever rating Cameron's video, or how the team just isn't in the business of leaking DMs. It seems to me like Apis won't apologize until after they're caught in lies either. They only apologize for lying about being Nar after Shortcake exposed that to the public. They only apologized for lying about Zaid after Standpie made his videos about it. There is a problem with accountability holding here. Seems to me like Apis is incapable of holding themselves accountable. As long as they can get away with it, there is no reason to address it. My suggestion would be to stop lying from the jump so you wouldn't have to be caught later on in it. It just looks scummy to be dodging and dodging and dodging until you're cornered, and only then will you feel sorry about it. Secondly, unpacking the culture of excuses, I don't think it's unfair for me to assume that most of the fans who constitute the Love Letter fanbase are young kids or just generally people who have nothing better to do with their life, because the fanbase is toxic and they are immature. They play into this god complex and protect Dr. Apis in every way they possibly can. They baby him and act like 18 isn't old enough not to keep a sexual harasser on their team. They act like 15 isn't old enough to know sending porn to a 10-year-old is wrong. I don't know who raised y'all, but it's not looking good, sis. Constantly excusing an adult's poor behavior because you're afraid the drama and the tea will ruin the potential for a weeb hitman game just shows where your priorities lie. Looking at this developer with rose-colored glasses is the biggest issue with the fanbase, and it leads to most, if not all, the fans absolutely incapable of allowing criticism of their Lord and Savior, Dr. Apis. You cannot applaud me for ragging on Yandere Dev and then turn around and hate on me for ragging on Apis. Yondev and Apis are not comparable. They're different people with a world of different circumstances. But if I see something I don't like, I reserve the right to criticize whoever on the internet. When you put yourself out there, it's inevitable. It's just a consequence of being in the public eye. And if you're as unproblematic as Zendaya, there is no tea. But if you give people a right to be outraged, there is tea, and there will be people covering it. Die-hard Love Letter fans are equally as toxic as the developer and the team because you cherry pick and you believe that Apis has a free pass to everything because you think he's the better one in comparison to Yondev. Have you ever, for even just 1 second, thought that a project born out of spite would maybe probably not be a good idea? Because that's what Love Letter is, a game born out of spite from Yandere Simulator, and so far, it's not been the greatest. Lastly, I just want to rapid fire debunk some things people said in my last video in argument to my previous points. 1. Dr. Apis is still young. He still has time to grow. Indeed, but they are still a legal adult and thus we must hold them to the standard of an adult. Mistakes are okay, and I even sent Apis a very wholesome message telling them that they are capable of change if they actually put action behind their words. They are redeemable, and mistakes are okay, but action has to be made or else the words are empty. Age isn't an excuse either. 2. Wow, look, yet another Yondev simp Criticizing Dr. Apis doesn't mean I support Alex. The thing that started this entire mess was my Yondev video. I only made a second video about Apis because I have, unfortunately, personally been attacked and involved with the love letter community since my last video came out. I am not personally involved with Alex or Yandere Simulator. That's the distinction. 3. Stop trying to cancel them. Never have, never will. I don't support cancel culture. I support accountability taking and real apologies because one is genuinely sorry, not performative apologies for the sole reason of appeal to one's fans. Most people took issue with my thumbnail because they assumed I was insinuating that they need to stop development. I'm sorry if you took it that way. I meant that they need to stop raiding and keeping sexual harassers on their team. Nowhere throughout the video do I state we need to cancel them, and never do I harass them in any way. Like I said, I replied to them with a very wholesome message about a day or two after the video went up, hyping them up and saying I still have hope for them. 4. But they already apologized. Stop bringing this up after they already apologized. I'd just like to ask, who the fuck are you to accept their apologies again? Like I said in my Dolly videos, if you're not personally affected by the shitty actions of the love letter community, then you have no apology to accept. This is why apologies are so tricky. When they're public, they seem performative. When they're private, the public remains outraged. I just think what's done is done. Apis released their apology document. It's linked below. The apologies are meant solely for the people directly affected and not for you to accept. It's up to the people affected to forgive them, not you. 5. At least they're better than Yondev. I still support them. Do what you will. I can't stop you. But this isn't like politics where there is no other choice to pick between the lesser of two evils. You can just not support either and play Fall Guys or something. There are other games out there. Fixating on the desire for a weeb hitman to the point where you feel like you have no choice, you must support at least one of the two, just sounds unhealthy. Maybe just don't? Maybe just look forward to something else? I don't know what to tell you. It's okay to not support either devs. That is an option if you weren't already aware. In the end, you can support whoever you want. I really don't care. This video was just to update everyone on where I stand with Love Letter, the dev, and the die-hard fans. I'm leaving the like to dislike ratio up on this video and my last video because I really have nothing to hide. I'm not embarrassed by anything that has happened to me. I just wanted to serve as a reminder of how this community conducts itself and the reasons why it's completely lost my support. I do believe Apis and their team has potential, but when there is no action behind the words and the lies continue, I feel that there's very little to believe in. Anyways, I've kind of lost hope for the love letter community. Maybe they'll turn it around, maybe they'll fix it, maybe they won't. But for now, I'm just disappointed and hurt. I'm gonna close the chapter on this one. Really upset that it had to turn out this way, but I guess that's how badly we want a Yandere style game, right? That's all from me on this one. The biggest thank yous go out to my wonderful, gorgeous patrons. You are my biggest motivators. Thank you so much to Ethan for this very wholesome and very cute fan art. Like or dislike, because you know that's kind of the trend with these sorts of videos. Comment and subscribe if you enjoyed what you just watched, and I'll catch you next time. Bye! Ooh, that's a juicy bird.